Look, I'm really interested in your stories, but we need to start the podcast.
Hold on.
Hey,
How dare you?
I want your bit to be your countdown. That also helps me cut the cold open. That helps me cut the cold open. I like your countdown bit. It made it very easy on the last pod to like. This is when you were doing the countdown. And
that was doing gag signs.
It was like it was a cool open.
3,
like,
2,
this is all gonna be in the cold open too. Us talking about the cold open. No, you didn't like my artistic direction there. The cold opens in black and white, then we transition to color. Like, you're not seeing the levels in which I'm using my head. Get this art out there to the masses, to the people. All right.
Here's the thing. Though. Let me just say this. I didn't watch it, so like I don't know exactly what you're talking about.
He's the worst.
You're a fucking asshole.
What else? What else you got? Let me write it down. He is an asshole.
Here's the cold open for anybody that decides not to watch like Mauricio. Apparently, you're doing the right thing by not watching all the hard work and effort I put in.
Oh, slow down. I'm right in. Slow down, dude. Okay, go ahead. No, I did see it. I'm joking, idiot. So watch everything.
No, you're not. Don't try to fucking save face now, you piece of shit.
Whatever, dude.
It's
whatever, dude. Right?
Yeah.
Are you not ready to pot?
I am. I'm just saying. I was like, how does
loading?
I just think maybe Sir Patrick Stewart has the best bald head, and that's.
We're not doing this shit right now.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
The only thing that gets it weird for Patrick Stewart. Did you see Patrick Stewart and James Corden's their weird thing that happened on the award show?
I don't watch James Corden.
No, it wasn't. It was on like Patrick Stewart was getting an award, and James Corden, I guess, looked bored or something in the audience, and Patrick Stewart called his ass out and called him fat.
Guys,
what? I'm waiting for the countdown.
Oh, really?
I say whatever the fuck I want to. I'm waiting for the countdown.
Man, get Iron Robin off the damn screen.
Okay, fine.
That motherfucker shouldn't shave his head. As deformed as that fucking bobblehead look.
The fuck?
He's got craters in it.
You messed up your camera, dude.
No, I did that.
Oh, he did that.
No, hey, don't do that shit. Because when I'm doing when I do the thing with the names and stuff, when y'all log in, log out, or people move and they switch, that's another thing I have to edit. All right?
What do you mean?
So stop fucking talking about bald people and let's fucking do the podcast.
I'm waiting for the countdown. What is up with all these bobbleheads?
Oh, God.
And why is that?
Mauricio's drunk.
Just shove that up your ass?
I'm not drunk at all. I'm not drunk at all.
He's going to pull out a dildo and a gerbil next. All things.
Oh, yeah, 1 second.
All right.
In 3? Well, I got the giggles. Stop.
You have the giggles.
I have the giggles.
You fucking 4-year-old. Okay.
Stop making me laugh, dude.
I'm sorry. I have a case of the giggles.
That's not helping.
Excuse me. My giggles are showing.
All right.
Oh,
all right.
God.
You guys ready?
Are we?
I think I am.
I polished the fuck out of Patrick Stewart's head. Rub that.
3, 2. Oh, it's 1.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, we're a mess.
Are you drunk? Like, for real?
I'm not. No, I'm not. Wait, you're drunk?
No, I don't.
Oh.
I've drank once since the quarantine happened.
That's sad, dude.
No, it's not. I have my life together. As much as I'm not making any money, I have my life together.
On that note, in 3, 2, 1. welcome back to the podcast. I'm here with Ryan, who has his life together. James. It's my best friends here, and we sit down, we drink, and we talk about sports.
Wait, am I in the best friend group now? Fuck yeah! I continue. My bad.
What's your name?
Oh shit!
Fuck, I fucked that up.
You already said it. It's too late.
Recently. Okay,
all
fair
I
enough.
care about was not being labeled best friend.
You were.
I was labeled as best friend.
No, you were the good friend.
I'm good with that.
Nope. You said I had my best friends here.
I just said that now.
Yeah,
you were the guy that
shit.
you.
No, it's too late.
You're my best friend.
Too late. It happened. And don't you dare cut this out the video.
I'm just
Don't cut that out the video.
I love you all equally.
Oh, appreciate it.
Equality is big nowadays.
That's not. Say he's just lying. We know that he wants to marry Ryan. Like he's already to put us on the same plane as Ryan would just automatically mean you're a lying piece of shit.
I mean, I am, but I also don't want to marry Ryan.
I am what I am.
Anyway, thank you so much for listening and following us. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. I feel like that's everybody.
We're on YouTube now.
First thing we're gonna talk about is gonna be finally Bundesliga's back, and we got some really good games today.
Is that how Vuvuzela sounds?
Yes.
No, they don't do that in Germany.
Like.
They don't do that in Germany. It's a lot of these upward hand mode numbers.
There's been a couple throughout history.
Yeah. There's no fans. There's no fans in the stand, so there's less.
Yeah, but you still have the players.
Yeah, that's true.
It was really good to finally watch some soccer. Fuck's sake. Yeah. But it was weird, dude.
I mean, I didn't
fans.
So I used to go to a lot of indoor soccer games and just to watch friends, or I used to play indoor soccer for a season. But that's what it sounds like when you play indoor soccer, and it didn't bother me almost at all.
Oh, it bothered me. It sounded like a volleyball tournament.
Okay. Yeah. First of all,
I like volleyball.
I saw some sick ass goals.
Me too. I'm not saying I don't, but when you go to a volleyball tournament, that's how it sounded. Because it's usually not that many. It's not 80,000 people in a volleyball tournament, and you can hear every word that they're saying.
Yeah, but I also they didn't pipe. I heard the NFL was going to pipe in sound. I'm glad they didn't do that. That's
weird.
Yeah.
That's a laugh track.
No, think about it though. If you got all the NFL players playing, they say some stuff.
Yeah. So what?
You don't want that air.
Well, I don't know if that's on the list. What the NBA thought about doing, and there's an element of that. Is that on the list?
No.
All right. So I think that certain sports, it's not necessarily they get better, but I think that they could get more interesting without the crowd, right? So soccer to me, this helps soccer in the sense you don't have a bunch of racist fucks lighting shit on fire, which is bad for soccer. So this eliminates that problem. Because how many times have we talked about racist fans as a topic here on the podcast, right? That's good.
We could talk about it today with Ian Wright.
Look, at the end of the day, you still have
they
all the soccer.
They just take it to Twitter.
But no, of course, they're all in their SS camps, doing what they need to do in Germany, rooting for their soccer team. Now, if you're looking at things like the NFL as far as the crowd noise in the sense of being a part of the game on defense, to me, it's it's the crucial part. It's kind of how when you're watching certain teams and they suck because you're not hearing that noise on defense. It's an integral part. So I don't know if you can replicate that properly. Basketball, on the other hand, as far as the noise itself not necessarily being an integral part of the game, I think the interesting aspect is being able to hear the fucking players interact. I want to hear that more than I ever want to hear anything that the fans are doing. In football, you want to hear the combination. That's why the XFL did a lot of the sideline stuff. You hear the quarterback.
Yeah.
But if the fans still are so important to football as far as that noise level for the defense. But basketball, man, they should just do a 3-minute delay, clean up some of the stuff that the players might be saying, and air those fucking games. To me, that might be better. That might be a better product on TV.
Or they can do the same thing that they did with The Last Dance. They'll have the dirty version on ESPN or something like that, and then the clean version on ESPN.
I'm not even talking about it from a standpoint of oh my God, precious little 4-year-old Mauricio. It's about image. It's about, do you want to hear LeBron James in the heat of the moment? Does LeBron James want you to hear in the heat of the moment.
Yeah.
Him turning around to somebody and say, go fuck yourself. Like, there's a certain image that certain players might necessarily run out.
No, there's people at courtside. Of course. Like, you're going to hear it anyway.
Yeah. But so one of the things that came out of these UFC matches, the last two especially, is that the fighters could hear their coaches, could hear them in their ears.
Just their coaches.
It adjusted the way some of them fought. Like, they could pay full attention to what their coaches were saying, and some of the people who won were like, it was only because I could hear my coach. Or on the other hand, one guy said, or maybe two, was like, the guy knew what was coming because he could hear my fucking coach. Like,
dude, there was another guy who DC was commentating, Daniel Cormier was commentating. He's like, yeah, he needs to check him right now, and he's checking right now. And he realized that, and boom, knocks out the other guy.
Yeah,
exactly went to act.
Yeah, he could hear all the comments coming from,
indirectly. Daniel Cormier became a coach for this fighter. So I guess in some sports it's good, some sports it's not.
No, I mean, look, it's like any sport. You adjust to the competition. If you're going out there, you're not pitching well, you adjust to how you're pitching. You might not have a good game.
I don't think it works in soccer though, because
that's my thing. Is it?
You don't want to have.
Yeah, it does work in soccer.
No, to me, it doesn't. To me, I think that it doesn't. I think it might make me more intrigued by soccer. It didn't today, but it might make me more intrigued by soccer by not having those fucking fans, in all honesty, because the fans and how they act are a big portion of why I'm not into soccer. But there's certain, like I said,
He's a racist.
All I hear is a bunch of racist assholes, and like they're doing a bunch of dumb shit.
But that's what you hear about. Like,
do you watch a game though?
99.9% of the fans aren't racist.
What I say? I said that in all honesty, I'm not necessarily saying that this is a make or break thing, right? Because I'm just not into soccer. I'm just saying that overall, if I'm trying to look at pros and cons, I'm saying that doesn't hurt that there's no fans. It might anything help. I'm not saying it does it outright, but it makes certain things interesting depending on the sport. It's not necessarily a sport, but wrestling. WWE without the fans sucks ass. Unless what they did at the last one where they had like this production where it was they're fighting to the top of the WWE headquarters. Interesting as shit is like a TV show, but it didn't feel like wrestling. It felt like it was this weird TV show. But you start realizing
like a sitcom almost.
But storylines and hearing so much of wrestling is like the stunts and hearing the crowd go crazy, and there's so much is fed off of that energy, and without it, it just doesn't. It feels so melodramatic and stupid. Without it being there, the UFC, on the other hand, I think does an amazing job without the crowd, in the sense of you can hear. What's interesting to me is hearing the coaches and the trainers talk to their athletes. You hear the athletes kind of get in that zone. You can imagine for some of those guys, because they feed off the crowd or feed off the energy, it might not be a great thing. But overall, if I'm looking at
sometimes they can even hear the coaches because they're so loud. Like if you go to the MGM in Vegas, that shit is loud. The 4 hours of the shit runs, they never stop.
Fucking Joe Rogan and everybody to nobody.
If we're looking at old school stuff, it's one of the reasons I'm not a huge fan of tennis. I hate the way the crowd interaction is in tennis. There
isn't any.
It's weird. Like there's all right, you can applaud now, but not too loud. Like it's that's just why, what?
That's why in golf they have the waste management in Arizona Arizona, and on the 10th hole, and this is the only time it happens in golf, you are trying to get as loud as possible while this person is hitting. Right. And you're trying to knock them off, and it's the only time it happens in golf, and the players and fans fucking love it. There's 80,000 people there. They get up to 110, 115 decibels. If you hit that near the pin, that crowd fucking loses it. It's the only time it happens in golf, and it's one of my favorite. Like, if I could just watch that hole and then the Masters, it'd be fine. Like,
see, that's the thing is that
greatest hole in golf.
With tennis, I'm not missing out on anything that they're saying. It's not like, oh my God, I need to hear what driver he's using for it's so important to me to hear the ins and outs. No, I want to hear people going crazy. It makes it more exciting. That's why they do laugh tracks on sitcom. You want an interaction with it. But if there's not an element that you can add to it, or at least there's an intrigue that you can add to something, then it kind of kills the sport a bit. And that's to me is always where that balance is just trying to figure out what sports are necessarily better compared to the ones that aren't. With the way that it is now.
It was weird because today was a big game, the Schalke and Dortmund game. It's a derby, and Dortmund it's known for having the most attendance in European football, soccer, whatever. And seeing the Signal Iduna Park just empty and not seeing that big yellow wall that they're known for, which is fucking gorgeous, it was weird. It was.
Wait, that's a question.
Hold on.
Is it? Oh, sorry.
Did you just compliment Dortmund?
Oh, have you not seen the yellow wall? How could I hate it, man? It's fucking great. It's one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen.
It's like college. If you see an 80,000 person stadium during a whiteout game or a blackout game, man, that's shit is cool.
Football, you need it. You need the crowd in football. You need the crowd in football. Football is going to be a weird product without it.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen for a while.
No, I know. I get that too. But to me, there's also a difference between, is it just weird in the sense of getting used to, or does it take away from the product? To me, I look at football, I'm saying it takes away from the product. It might be weird, but it's weird in a really, really bad way. In soccer, was it just today? Was it just, all right, well, that's going to take a little getting used to? Or was you saying like, oh my God, this is just an inferior product without it?
Well, in a way, players feed off of their fans. They want to go celebrate with their fans, and they want them to cheer and all of that. And you score a goal, and you have 80,000 people cheering for you because you just score a last-minute goal, and you go home super happy. They couldn't even celebrate today. Like, there was celebrations, but they couldn't touch each other.
I mean, soccer still happens. I mean, the MLS doesn't sell any tickets because nobody cares a shit. So I'm sure it still exists, right?
It's 90% of watching soccer and being a fan is the tension leading up to a goal. Mm-hmm. And that when they
rivalries and all of that too.
It's not like basketball or football or many other sports, honestly, where there's so many points scored that particular, that particular point or set of points, it doesn't matter as much. In soccer, you're waiting for maybe one fucking goal.
Anticipation, yeah.
And when the goals are scored, you don't get usually you hear the crowd behind it, and either you're devastated or you're right there with them. It didn't really have that for me. But just watching it again, I don't give a shit about any of those teams except for Bayern, and they play tomorrow. I fucking had a blast listening to the commentators. You could hear the players, you could hear the coaches.
Yep.
That was actually kind of cool. It's not a product I want forever, but it's like if you can't get if you can't get an iced coffee, you don't really like regular coffee, but you'll drink regular coffee till they make some more ice. I'm cool with it for right now. You know what I mean? It's not bad. It's just not the product I really want, but it's
the product that you're used.
It's something.
Yeah, it's not the product I'm used to. I'm not sure it's bad, but I will take this product until I get something better.
I'm just happy that it's back.
I was just saying, as a person that's not really a fan, I'm more intrigued by the aspect of the things that I like about soccer are the Spanish announcers yelling goal, and I don't need crowd noise behind that. To me, a soccer is a lot of – same thing with baseball. I give two shits if there's a crowd in a baseball game. Who gives a fuck? Because at the end of the day, there's so many lulls in things that are happening that it's like there's just these short bursts of oh my God, we're excited again. You could put a fucking music track behind that shit and be okay. That to me is it just doesn't necessarily take away from the element of the game itself, just because the way the bursts of energy and everything are. I just think it's weird. Same with basketball. I don't know how many games I've gone to in a gym where there is no crowd, and I'm tuned in to what's happening as long as the action's fucking good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just different. That's it.
Well, I think the NFL games are just going to sound like high school games now. Because, you always hear the coaches. But
to me, it's hearing the players on the sidelines fucking going nuts when shit happens. That, to me, sounds like I want to see it. I just don't necessarily – I think that the crowd means so much more in football than does a lot of places. That's why when, you're watching certain games in the NFL, and depending on what stadium they're in, to me, it's a vastly different experience watching.
Yeah. I would say, when you hear, the sound bites, if you hear, Steve Smith telling, a DB, hey, check my references, I'm about to fuck you up.
The
stuff like that, that makes you hype. So now you get to hear from everybody.
No, but I'm saying, there's those aspects of it, right? But I'm saying, actually playing the game, in and out, playing the game. without the crowd noise on defense and hearing an offense like shut up a crowd, to me, that's like it's always been like an integral part of the game. Like it's a huge part of the way the game itself is played. Like it's a part of it. The 12th man means something in football probably more than any other sport because the crowd fucking matters. Home field advantage in football fucking matters.
100%. Yeah, it matters in soccer too.
I mean, it's kind of like everybody will feel like how the Chargers feel every game, every home game.
Unless you play in Los Angeles.
They don't have any fans there anyway. So
as long as you wear IKEA jerseys.
Yeah, no, that's the Rams.
Whatever. All the LA teams are just LA teams now at this point.
Just to kind of recap today's games, we had about 6 different games. Just the more important ones were, of course, the Dortmund-Schalke, which Dortmund won 4-0. They are they're now a point behind Bayern, but we have a game to play tomorrow, so definitely got to win that game against.
Wait, did Eden Hazard score in that game?
Eden? No, Thorgan.
Thorgan.
Yeah, and then the one that
Haaland score?
Who?
Haaland.
Yeah, of course he did. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, what the
fuck? All these names sound like people who think their race is superior.
Well, they're European. I don't know. And then the other one that I kind of
Rafael Guerrero is European.
Yeah, he's Portuguese.
All right.
He scored 2.
East Mexico.
Northeast.
And then
Oregon, Howlett, and Guerrero hit a brace.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Schalke didn't do shit. Anyway, but the one that I thought was the most impressive, even though it was a tie, it was a 0-0 game, was the Dusseldorf and Paderborn, because I did not think Paderborn was going to be able to get that point, which is really essential because they're going to relegate.
Yeah.
And so is Dusseldorf. They needed to win that game because it was supposed to be an easy 3 points, but they couldn't, and it was a hell of a fucking game. That is bottom of the table. Tomorrow we have Bayern against Union Berlin and I think Köln and Mainz.
Yeah.
At 9:30 in the morning. So that was the first bit of the Bundesliga today. Again, I thought it was really good to finally watch some soccer. Like having to wake up early and schedule your whole day around the game.
I was up at 9 this morning.
Bro, I was up at 8
I woke up at 2.
I was up at 8 o'clock, fucking excited like a child in Christmas or something like that. But it was great. I just hope that it can continue.
It felt so good, like ignoring a sport again.
Oh yeah, I guess
there's a sport happening. I'm like, I'm gonna go out of my way to make sure I don't watch it.
Yeah, even you were affected by this. Holy shit,
dude! I took all morning to sleep. It was amazing.
Because there was soccer to watch, and why would you watch?
I planned the entire night. I'm like, well, I can stay up all night because there's just soccer happening.
Speaking of soccer, the Premier League wants to come back on June 1st, and I don't know how likely that is.
I mean, this is one of those things where they haven't really given us like a full detailed how they're going to do it. I see they want to come back then.
It sounded to me like it's just a thought. Like, it will be nice if we come back on June 1st, but there's no planning behind it.
Yeah, I mean, it's completely up to how they're doing as a country, and whether or not they have the appropriate testing in place for their players, whether or not, their players can safely travel from one place to another.
Right.
Do I want it? Do I hope that whole country is safe enough for the players and no fans, but for the players and for the coaches and for the staff to be able to do that? Of course I do. Do I think it's realistic?
I think the biggest advantage is that Germany did really well at controlling the whole COVID and all of that, flatlining and all of that.
Here's the thing. It's give it 2 weeks. Because it takes 2 weeks to really know whether or not it works.
They're already saying that they're starting to,
Germany's starting to lock back down.
Angela's already starting to put restrictions back in place. So I'm like,
Angela doesn't fuck around. So
here's the thing. And this is the issue with, I think, a lot of stuff going on, is that, places are reopening, sports are coming back, people are feeling more comfortable, but it's not the first week or the second week. It's after that where you get to see. So
this could be the only week.
Yeah, if it's been a week, everyone's like, fuck, everything's still declining. Let's go back outside. And then 3 weeks later, they're like, "Oh, we just killed like 20,000 more people."
We all died. Yeah.
We fucked up.
There's one country that probably did better than any other country at this thing, and that was South Korea. They've only got 260 deaths, and which is
That's
fucking
crazy.
insane.
Yeah,
But,
that's nuts.
They're already starting to implement certain things because of how good they're doing with the contact tracing. They're already looking at, there was a nightclub.
Yeah,
that,
some kid went to 5 nightclubs.
And they
And
could already
infected
see
everyone.
was the source. There were like 148 confirmed cases because of this guy. And they're like, all right, we're going to have to start shutting shit down again because of this guy. So it's like.
Hey, was that kid American by any chance?
No.
Okay,
He was a fancy dancy South Korean kind of guy.
No. His name was John Patrick, and he was wearing a MAGA hat. Sorry, I hate Trump. But if I'm looking at South Korea, who did better than anyone else, and they're already starting to reimpose stuff, my thing is not. I don't understand why everybody keeps looking at it from a sports standpoint.
Korean baseball is back though, right?
Yeah, they did 262 deaths. They're right next door to where everything was happening. There's no doubt in my mind there were more flights coming into there, more people traveling into there than there are a lot of other countries.
No, China, they were not letting any Chinese people in.
China.
Yeah, South Korea. Oh, wow. So many problematic things.
Come on.
I don't think they were. I think that South Korea's been shut down with international travel for.
They have at the onset of everything. They handle it. I'm sick and tired of everybody saying, "Well, things could have been a lot worse." No, if you want to figure out how things could have been, look at what South Korea did. If you're not fucking around with where South Korea is, you fail.
Yep. Well,
yeah, I mean,
Ryan, did you see the comments from who was Dangeruss about the Prem kind of opening back up?
Oh, Dangeruss said he wasn't going to play.
Shut the shit down. No, he was mostly. I think James, you have the tweet for it.
I gotta find it.
I forget how. It was basically like, I don't give a shit about or not
morale.
I don't care.
Yeah, morale.
Right, because they were saying we should open up football again for the morale of the country, and then he was like, "I don't give a fuck about it. I want to be safe."
Oh yeah,
numbers decline.
Here's the tweet. I don't give a fuck about the nation's morale. People's lives are at risk. Football shouldn't even be spoken about coming back until the numbers have dropped massively. It's bollocks. We'll see. I'm supposed to get tested on Friday, so we will just have to wait and see. I mean, he's right, and that's exactly my thoughts.
Speaking of facts, yeah.
Yeah, that's with anything. Like, if he's not willing to go out and risk himself, fine. He's a star player. Shut it down.
Yep.
If it's working in South Korea, let them play baseball. They did what they had to do so that they could get back to playing baseball without fans. They did what they had to do. If you haven't done what you have to do to get back to playing sports, then you haven't, and that's your fucking fault. That's the fans' fault, mostly, and then they don't get their sport. I get that. Look, it's like anything else. If you don't eat your fucking broccoli, you don't get your ice cream. We haven't eaten our fucking broccoli. You don't get dessert. Simple as that.
As I said this many times. You're crazy.
I like broccoli more than I like ice cream.
What?
I do, 100%.
Are you not a sweet guy?
Especially with cheese sauce on the broccoli. Oh, my God. Oh, God.
Are you not a sweet guy?
If I gave you a fucking Ben & Jerry's vanilla ice cream, I don't know. If I gave you a Ben & Jerry's ice cream cone,
he's gonna go get ice cream. I guarantee he's gonna go get ice cream.
Broccoli and cheddar soup. You're choosing the fucking Ben & Jerry's thing.
I don't like soup. First of all,
I don't like soup. Broccoli and cheddar soup is a different thing. It's a different experience. All right, it ain't like some tomato shit.
Maybe if you have a steak and I have mashed potatoes and broccoli, I'll choose that over the ice cream. But if it's just broccoli by itself, ice cream.
I eat broccoli all fucking day. I love it. I think Ryan went upstairs to go get ice cream. So right before he comes back, the next thing that we want to talk about was going to be Zion's former agent. I'm not 100% sure what happened there, but if you guys can update me with that. Break it down,
That's why Ryan needs to be here.
Fuck him. Break it down,
fuck
James.
Ryan. Hey, Ryan,
fuck him. You didn't read about it?
No, I want you to break it down. I'm sure I'm going to break down a topic. I'm just saying you break it down this time. You know?
Nah, Ryan, question for you.
He just went upstairs to put pants on?
Huh?
Did you just go upstairs to put pants on?
No, I had to pee.
Oh, great.
Wow. All right. Well, did you hear about Zion's former agent?
Oh yeah, I did.
What are your thoughts?
What happened? I just want to know what happened first.
So what I think allegedly what had happened is his former agent came out and said that that Zion got money from Duke, from Nike, and maybe Adidas. Adidas. All day I dream about soccer.
Facts.
Which to me sounds like what a former agent would say. Maybe someone who's a little salty. Obviously, I think they started an investigation into it. We don't have any details specifically yet, but man, would I be surprised? No. I mean, especially with the Zion shoe blowing out incident, would I be surprised that even kids of his caliber would be ensuring that they're taken care of whilst still in college under the proverbial purview of the NCAA? No, the fuck I would be surprised. If I'm Zion, I'm taking every dollar I can.
She can't represent anybody ever again.
It's over.
Not gonna do much shit, huh?
Why did she come out and say it? Did she say what?
Because he fired her.
Yeah, he fired her.
So
she wanted money.
But she collected money back then.
I'm sure she did.
Right, which makes her worse than Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Yeah, because she's like, "Oh, you're gonna fire me? I need you to pay me. What was it, $100 million?
Zion didn't even try.
Or if you don't pay me $100 million, I need you to admit that I was there getting deals from you from all these companies. What type of shit is that?
So just trash.
Tekashi ratted on people that tried to murder him and his
fuck
friends.
His baby moms.
This lady ratted on what seems to be a very, very decent young man.
Or former employer.
Yeah. He probably fired her.
How are you supposed to get references after that? Like, what the fuck?
Also, you're not doing your job. I think we have to part ways. Oh, well, if you do that, I'm going to rat you out for $100 million. And he went.
He's like, I'm in the league now. I don't give a shit. Go ahead.
What are you going to do? Yeah, go after
for a year.
That's a question.
Coach K is an American hero.
That's a question.
The fuck out of her nose despite her face at this point, man.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? Is this lady white?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Okay. It don't matter.
If she was, I'm sure her name's Karen.
Oh, fucking Karen. Okay.
I'd say she's probably gray because that's the color of most rats.
That's also oh, nice, dude. I was going to say it's also the only color you can see because you're colorblind.
Hey, facts.
Oh,
all right. But it's just, here's the thing. I don't think anybody's necessarily, no one gives a fuck about whether or not he collected money. Did they win a national championship?
Yeah. No.
No one gives a fuck. That's the thing, is that, like, at the end of the day, and especially now you got other guys that are going to the G League straight, no one cares.
Yeah. No, this is the biggest non-story in quite a while.
The big part of the story is how terrible she's doing for her career in the sense of looking like a jilted agent.
Looks like a Karen.
Yeah, see, I was about to say another problem. Say something else problematic, and I'm trying to cut that.
I need that, Kidding. I need that.
If we have a Patreon, you can get me wild and uncut. But until we get to that point,
that should be
I'll fucking pay for that.
I'm not gonna ruin my life and not get paid. The fuck you think this is?
That's what she just did. She just did that.
I'm learning from her.
Don't be Karen. Yeah.
No,
don't be Karen.
Pay me, motherfuckers, if you want me to say the problematic shit I want to say about.
If you want me to say fuck you, pay me.
That's what I'm saying. Like, why would I do that? No, that is trash. It is so trash.
Yeah. It's
you
dumb.
Can't do that. If you're gonna be, it'd be one thing if she was an agent back then and said, "I think that this is wrong, and people need to be aware of what's happening." Even though I might completely disagree with her, at least you took a principled stand, and like you could have something to hold on to. There's some sort, but not if you were lining your pockets through all of it during the entire thing, and then once that money valve turned off, you're now upset and you're angry, so you're trying to find some other way to get at them. No, go get another client.
There's so many players. Like
it's like you represented Zion Williamson. You don't have any profile. You can't get
you had to have something to get there, right? Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, what are you doing then? Unless you were terrible at your job and Zion saying what trash you were.
How did she get there in the first place?
Take her to court for defamation. Like, do that. But now that, oh no, look at all this stuff that I helped create. It was all messed up. Look at how terrible this is. I deserve to get paid. That's that and the other. Nah, screw you.
Yeah. 2 things that I learned. This lady sucks, and I don't think she's ever going to be working again.
Yep. Well, she'll be working. Them streets.
You want to go into what she said? No, I'm joking. Hang on there.
All right. Next in here is going to be about the Rams uniforms. You guys hate it.
You mean the Best Buy or / IKEA?
I think IKEA is closer.
Yeah, the home uniforms are Best Buy. The away are IKEA.
I already hate the logo of it. It's kind of dumb.
The logo is trash.
Yeah,
the logo is absolutely
terrible.
Dude.
All bad.
There should, if you're in the same city as another team, right? You're in the same city. Why would you change your logo? You already have blue and yellow colors. Why are you going to then change your logo to be more in line with what the other organization is doing? It makes no sense to me. You want to differentiate in some sort of capacity. That's why I'm saying the LA teams are just LA.
They should have, like, if anything, if they really wanted to change their uniform, they should have just went back to what they used to have way before.
Dude,
like
I think
white
they should go back to the white and blues.
Like St. Louis, yeah.
The old school white and blues are legit.
Like, that looked way better than the shit they had now, and they're just going to be trash.
I'm colorblind, so I can't really comment.
I will make a full confession, though.
Look like a Best Buy to me.
The more I see the uniforms, the more I'm actually starting to dig. I don't know why, but I think they're trying to. There's something about that flat finish of the gradient with the colors. For some reason, the longer I'm looking at
it makes you feel like you're in Best Buy and you're about to buy a big ass TV. That's why you like it.
Is that the marketing thing? Is because I want a laptop? I want a laptop. Is it just like, is it subliminal now?
Everybody, it's like the old. Why does Bud Light and Pepsi have basically the same colors? Because if you're drinking a Pepsi, maybe you're thinking about the Bud Light and vice versa.
Yeah, Bud Light just makes me want to drink water.
Yeah, I'm drinking. Dude, I've been hydrating so much.
That's not water. That's fucking vodka. Fuck you.
Welcome to my world, baby. No booze. No booze. Take Keg and Mentals.
Does this look like it has alcohol in it?
Yeah.
Yes.
If it's a cup in Ryan's house, it's alcohol.
If it's a cup in Ryan's hands, it's alcohol.
If he's looking at a cup, it's alcohol.
Or I don't think liquid in that house exists if it's not alcohol.
Their water has like a 3 or 4% alcohol.
You look in the backyard, there's barrels underground with pipes coming out from shit. And that's how he showers. He showers with Coors Light. It's the Rocky Mountain water.
Hey, once those mountains turn blue.
You get into the shower, he turns the shower head to know whether or not he's getting warm, cold.
Ryan's like this in the shower.
It's just a diagram of the mountains, and they either turn red or blue. To know whether or not he's getting.
This is good. This is good. All right.
Mauricio, you're muted.
You mean also there was a low.
He's sitting up here talking. He's like, "Yeah, guys. So next."
Yeah. I went right into it, but I
know. I was like, I can't hear you.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Was he actually transitioning well?
Yes.
I was.
Yes. I saw him. Like,
dead silence is because you're dumbass at mute.
I was muted.
Pause that no one is gonna understand.
I was muted.
We're all just sitting there looking at each other.
What pause?
You're dumbass with the mute. I can tell you're not muted. It's not funny. It's not a funny bit.
We don't speak Peruvian, bro.
Yeah, I just call y'all motherfuckers. Anyway, another thing that came out during the week was the Seahawks supposedly offered Russell Wilson to the Browns back in the day.
Yeah,
2018. 2018.
Undrafted?
It's been, they won the number 1 pick.
I don't believe it.
Yeah.
Why?
And
who does it make sense for?
Cleveland.
Yeah.
And they said
no. Because it's Cleveland.
Yeah, that's why I don't believe it.
Because it's Cleveland.
It
Why
doesn't
would they
make
say no,
any
though?
sense for the Seahawks. It
Wait.
makes 100% sense for
Didn't
Cleveland.
Baker
And
Mayfield came
Cleveland
out that
said
year,
no.
right?
Yes,
Huh?
I get Baker. I
Yeah, they
understand
wanted
the
Baker.
thing.
They
But
wanted
did
Baker.
you hear what Hugh Jackson said?
No.
Hugh Jackson said, I was never made aware of this. He didn't say it didn't happen. He said, I was never made aware.
So why are you saying you don't believe it?
It is Cleveland. I give you that.
Okay.
But just, I've never, has that ever
fucking
happened?
stupid.
But it's
It
never
doesn't-
happened.
It doesn't make
from a precedent standpoint, when have you ever had a quarterback at the top of his level, Super Bowl winning, top of the level quarterback at that level, gets traded in his prime anywhere?
No, and
Well,
And-
like you can
no,
you can look
it's-
at it. You can look at it a couple different ways, right? So, with that, like you got to remember, a lot of people like attributed the Super Bowls to the defense.
Mhm.
If you can get the best player, like somebody you think is going to be better than Russell, and get the contract off your books,
Is
like
that
I
just
think that's
monetarily? Is it strictly, if it's strictly monetarily, okay, maybe you can bring an
monetarily,
argument to
and
it,
the
but
fact that they thought that Baker would be better than Russell Wilson.
that's stupid. That's where I go to that, like,
It's wild.
it's wild. Maybe it's just dumb enough to have happened, but it's like,
Yeah.
it's one of those things where it's like, Seattle was in absolute cap hell with the defense when all those guys got to a certain point, and then they had to offload everybody. Brandon Browner is prison number such and such, so they kind of got lucky that he was gone before that. Richard Sherman had to go. Earl Thomas was begging to leave. Cam Chancellor begging to leave. Who else did they have on that deep? Everybody was gone. Like,
Smith,
a lot of guys were
Michael Bennett.
So I mean, if I look at it and I say, okay, Seattle didn't want to pay
Wagner.
Russ.
Oh, Bobby.
He's still there, but they didn't want to pay Russ all that money in the sense of what we've talked about as far as
Rookie QBs and Super Bowls, yeah.
Right, but I still stand for the defense wins championships, but you can argue with me on a different end of that.
Maybe they were thinking the same thing. If you trade Russell, you get the #1 pick, you pick up Baker Mayfield, and then you could pay the whole defense.
All right, so if that's the case, I can almost maybe possibly say that it might, okay, I can see where Seattle was going. For
It's still
Cleveland
stupid.
to pass that up
It's Cleveland.
is the single dumbest move maybe in the history of NFL transactions.
Talking about Dumb and Dumber here. Dumb to
I mean,
trade.
yeah, it just doesn't
Dumber
make sense
to not
on
trade
their
him.
side, which is why I can't understand why
And
I
that's
don't get it.
why
I
it
was
could
shocked.
possibly be a real story. It just
I
doesn't
was
make any
shocked.
sense.
Yeah,
I mean-
I was shocked.
Dude, people are so bored right now, they're making this shit up. I can't.
that's another thing.
It
That's a
just
possibility.
seems like,
Yeah.
it just seems like, why didn't this come out, I don't know, 2 fucking years ago?
At this point, the only things we have sports right now are The Last Dance and this thing called soccer that I'm not sure about.
Yeah, there's punching. There's punching starting again tonight.
But it was another thing I'm not going to pay attention to. I'm all about this new era, baby.
Oh, did y'all watch the documentary on PG basketball that I told y'all about?
No, I saw a lot of people posting about it. I am planning on watching it. But then
I knew so many people in that fucking documentary. It was crazy.
See, that's been one of the reasons I haven't watched it yet.
I was like, oh, they got him in there. And then I know people that they should have put in there, but they didn't.
The people posting about it are people that want to constantly remind me that they know these people, or
Yeah.
Yo,
or they.
I went to high school with this guy. Nobody cares.
Here's the
about
thing.
him.
They also, if there's a Venn diagram, they're the people that are also the ones in barbershops that argue with me on points that don't make sense. But like the crossover has me at a point where I'm like, I'm gonna hold off.
You should just watch it.
No, here's the thing. You know what? Fuck. I just put myself in a catch-22. I just put myself into a corner. But I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna be a hypocrite. I'm gonna do it anyway.
Okay.
I grew up around basketball in the area.
I know.
Like, so Urban Coalition is my family's thing. Like, the summer leagues, I get it. I know there's a lot of other people that I'm going to be in. I don't know. sports to me right now, because of how thirsty everybody is for sports, is a very, very careful thing. I need your product to be absolute quality, which is why The Last Dance has been the most amazing thing ever at this point. Even though, as far as a documentary goes, it's very loose of whether or not you can actually call it a documentary. But I'm enjoying that television programming at this point. That's really the only thing sports-wise that I give a shit about, other than NFL players getting arrested. But
I'm saying, just watch the documentary. Like it.
I will eventually.
Like one of the craziest things was like saying about like how I forgot. No, I'll talk about it later. I got get his name right.
You know what I wouldn't mind doing is that next week when we do this, I want to have a good conversation on The Last Dance. I don't think we've talked about it enough. As far as like what's happened in any of the episodes, like as far as from a recap standpoint. But I'll watch it before we pod again, and so we can actually break down some of that stuff. That works
good.
All right.
I'm down.
All right, last thing we want to talk about is going to be about the Quentin Dunbar and James. I do not understand your handwriting. Darrell Baker?
DeAndre Baker.
Okay,
that wasn't close at all.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm going to show you how James fucking writes. What does that say?
DeAndre Baker.
Yeah, right. That is not. I see
Darlene Baby.
One, you got glasses, so you can't see. Fuck you. And two, you can't read, so fuck you too. Okay.
You can't speak English. What do you mean you can't read?
I can read. You just can't. You can't write it. Anyway.
You can also add another name.
I could have written it better. All right.
We'll break this down, and we can add another name to that list. Cody Lattimore.
Yeah, he's on there. I didn't put him on there. I just texted it, but it
just happened this morning.
Yeah. Oh god.
So what happened with these two?
So Quentin Dunbar, Washington Redskin. I've talked about him here on this podcast. Also, on another podcast I do called District Divided, which you can listen to and find on Spotify.
Fam.
Thank you.
I'm just fucking with you.
All right. So, damn, James, take that hat off. What's that hairline doing?
Do you want to compare?
That motherfucker's in his room, in his house doing the Carlos Boozer and shit. All right. Okay. Okay.
Are we comparing?
No. This is not the time or the place.
I got shoe polish on my head, so.
Are we comparing?
Hey, there's enough testosterone running through this body. You can see this fucking beard. Don't pay attention to my man tits, but the beard, yeah, testosterone's here, baby. All right. So, Andre Baker and Quentin Dunbar, two defensive backs, one for the New York Giants, the other being a Redskins cornerback that just got traded to Seattle. So these two guys apparently the other night, this is all just allegedly, the other night were playing poker or something, and they lost $70,000. So after losing $70,000, they invite a bunch of people over to a house or some shit, and then apparently DeAndre Baker robbed these people at gunpoint. And, Quentin Dunbar helped take stuff off of them, and then from there they threw everything into a couple cars. Apparently the cars were like perfectly set to get away, and they drove off. So there was warrants out for the arrest of both gentlemen. Now, come to find out, Quentin Dunbar's lawyer is now saying that he has 5 signed affidavits from members at the party saying that his client had nothing to do with it, which to me just sounds like
right.
But it ain't good.
That's a hush money.
An affidavit, that's under oath.
Yeah, and I'm sure no one's ever lied under oath when they've had an affidavit. And,
I'm American.
And $100,000 in their account that's willing to risk it all. So,
hey, look, I'm an American.
Right, you're my lawyer, and we talk about how we're going to lie. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Which time?
Okay. So this is all bad. Dunbar I think he turned himself in this morning. Baker, I think I don't know if he turned himself in. I know they were looking for him. What was crazy, Quentin Dunbar did an interview with a bunch of Seattle media hours after this thing had happened. And he looked so normal. And the reporters are like, wow, this guy like has it all together. Like he's really
guilty,
great.
Bro. Guilty.
It's just like, whoa. It's completely out of it. But the big winner in all of this, the Washington Redskins got a 5th round draft pick for Quentin Dunbar.
Yeah, in case he's suspended and can't play.
Why would they? I don't understand it. Like, why would they like steal from people?
You lost $70,000 in a night of poker. You get desperate. Which to me, it also speaks to why Dunbar wanted a new contract in DC so goddamn much. He probably got a camera.
It's got some, yeah.
Fair.
I mean, look at fucking Dana White. That's why he's pushing UFC so much, because he needs to go gamble. Poor guy.
Bring it full circle to Jordan. When Jordan talked about his gambling in the Last Dance documentary, it makes it a point, like all gamblers do, to talk about how it doesn't impact his life. Kind of like how Ryan talks about alcohol. So when they talk about
I know how it impacts my life.
When they talk about how, look, I'm not homeless, I can take care of my family, I still go to work. All sounds like Ryan, right? Then I don't have a problem with gambling. But if you are begging for new contracts and then robbing people at gunpoint, you might have a problem, sir. You might just have a problem.
Yeah, that's not cool. But it's fucking stupid, honestly.
The last guy is Cody Latimer, who's a wide receiver with the This is where the Redskins might lose. Is the wide receiver that we just signed in March, who was in Denver before. He got an arrest warrant out today. Or no, he got arrested last night, and they're charging him with a bunch of different stuff. I forget it was like some weapon charge. Apparently, a gun was fired in an apartment, all kind of stuff. But I did hear there was a report that the lawyer said that when the full story comes out, it's going to be the biggest story in all the sports because it's the most salacious story you've ever heard.
All right, he was arrested on second-degree assault, menacing, illegal discharge of a firearm, prohibited use of a weapon, and reckless endangerment. He was held and then, I believe, released on a $25,000 PR bond.
What the lawyer's saying, as far as like when all the details come out, as far as what happened, they're the most salacious things. I don't necessarily know if I've heard a lawyer try to hype up the salaciousness of something compared to saying that like, oh wow, this is completely taken out of context, it's overblown and everything. But this lawyer's like, hey, TMZ, get ready for all the crazy shit that you're about to hear from this stuff. Which probably is going to be a disappointment, but I'm looking forward to seeing whatever happens.
I mean, with all the shit we've seen
crazy.
Recently, I wouldn't be surprised.
But that's the thing, is like when you first hear this stuff, I mean, Earl Thomas is, I guess, a little different. Although, when we first heard about the Earl Thomas things, like if you were on Twitter, everybody's initial thought was, oh, fuck, what did he do? Right? And then you had the report that Baltimore was looking at seeing how it is they could get out of this contract without having to pay the money, this, that, the other. But then when the full story comes out, holy shit. Maybe you're an adulterous asshole, but still, you deserve to have a gun pulled on you.
Is it funny that all three of these players are or were Giants and Redskins? Baker was a Giant. Latimer was a
he's looking at Baker. He's not talking about Earl Thomas.
Oh,
I'm not talking about Earl Thomas. Baker was a Giant. Latimer was a Giant, became a Redskin, and now Quentin Dunbar was a Redskin. And
if you want to know how principled I am, going back to when I first heard about the Earl Thomas thing, when I heard that Baltimore was looking into how to get out of his contract, my initial thought was, goddamn, Redskins got cap space. I don't give a fuck what he did. We need another safety.
I feel like all teams think that way.
Thomas and Landon Collins together.
All teams think that way, though. Like all fan bases think that way.
Yeah, of course. But that's where. Then when I heard that it was like, oh man, nah, his crazy ass wife did that shit. I'm like, please, Baltimore, still cut him. Like that's just where it was.
He'll be out there gunning for people.
Wow.
I'm not reacting to your shit anymore. Wow, I just reacted.
Saying you're not gonna react, that's a reaction.
I was laughing at myself. That checks out with my ego.
I like it.
My false confidence to boost my self-esteem.
All right, well, thank God you have your life together, right?
I'm so glad this started with that.
Pop the pills, baby. Pop the pills.
All right, boys.
Look, that's how I deal with my life too. We're all okay.
Ryan,
everything's fine.
I don't take vodka with my pills.
You gotta balance it out, dude.
I don't take pills.
I also don't roll my face around in snow before I take the pills.
It's summer.
Yeah, I know, but he's got this affinity for going to ski slopes when he's feeling a little off.
Yeah, he likes.
Man, I haven't been
snow angels while he's downing his pills and booze.
I haven't been skiing in years.
All I know is that hand movement Mauricio just made, the hand movement that Mauricio just made, I'll pay you $5 to see you do jumping jack.
Right now?
I just think it'd be hilarious.
How many?
The eagerness in which you were doing it and the floppiness of where your body was, I'm just like, wow.
I just said 5.
5 sitting jacks? Like, what the fuck was
It's a new thing, bro. Sponsored by COVID.
Sponsored by
You're just moving your fucking neck, Ryan. Like, your arm's still here, but you're just moving your neck.
Well, it's kind of like what was working on you is that when each time your arms were doing this, there was a 3-second delay for the waves to move your body. It was going through.
It's a lot of mass, boys. A lot of mass.
It's like bullet time on the Matrix.
He's putting on mass.
You remember in the Matrix when the helicopter crashed in the buildings, the ripple? That's what happens. That's what's happening.
All right, boys.
Hey, this is a solid COVID body.
I'm just thinking about the frame rate in which him doing jumping jacks gonna fuck up my uploading of the pod.
It's gonna take 5 more hours now.
There's a fourth of your video when the frame rate doesn't check with your
yeah, make a clip of just a fat fuck doing jumping jacks.
Oh no, here's the thing. That is already a GIF. I don't know what you're talking about.
All right, boys. Ryan, give me your final thoughts.
I'm glad that soccer's back.
Right.
I hope it doesn't have any bad implications. Other than that, Last Dance finale's tomorrow. Should be fucking sweet. And I'm going back to work next week. I'm really happy. So
nice.
Hope I stay safe. Hope y'all stay safe.
Yeah,
and if not, if you're not being safe, fuck you. Hey.
Gideon, what's your final thoughts?
As we're getting into a period of time where people are being guilted into going back to work in unsafe conditions, and people have no money because the government's doing a really shitty job of taking care of people, and rushing people back, I would just say there's a percentage of you that are just lost, and as much as I try to help, I can't anymore. But seeing the pictures coming out of Fredericksburg, Virginia, where I used to live, where Mauricio still lives, I'm staying the fuck home until August, and I'm hopeful that I'm wrong. I'm hopeful that the experts are wrong. But right now what I'm saying is that we're fucked, and I'm just hoping everybody does what they need to do to take care of themselves. And kind of like what I said last week as far as the return to normalcy when it comes to certain sports, everything else, I'm still at a period where I just want everybody to calm the fuck down and chill the fuck out, and to realize that if we're going to do this thing, we need to be extremely careful. And I don't have a lot of faith in that right now. So I'm just trying to hold on to something. And the only thing I can hold on to is just telling people to stay as safe as you can. Nobody's infringing on your constitutional rights by asking you to wear a fucking mask. Get over yourself.
Facts.
J-Mo, final thoughts.
Well, I think everybody should watch the Basketball County in the Water documentary on Showtime. It gives a lot of history about basketball in the DC PG County area, and why a lot of NBA players do come from the county, and how I feel though we have the best basketball players in the nation growing up in like this one area. And then one of the big things that I saw was it talked about the history of basketball in PG County, and Edwin Henderson, who's like considered the father of Black basketball. He learned the game from James Naismith when he went to a Harvard session. And then he took what he brought down to DC, and then gentrification, and everybody moved to PG. And now you have like KD, Quinn Cook, Michael Beasley, DeMar Johnson, all them guys. So I think everybody should just take a look at that, since you're supposed to be in the house anyway.
For that, my final thoughts are that I kind of what you guys just said. I'm happy that soccer is back, but I don't want it to be another problem. It might seem a little too rushed, but I don't know. I'm just happy that it's back, but I don't think Like we could have waited a little longer, but whatever. We'll see what happens, and definitely stay safe.
I mean, if you think about it, it just is a final thought. I'd rather it be a very small population of very wealthier people who go out because they have the opportunity that if something goes wrong for the players or the coaches, they can go sit inside for the next 6 months and have no problems on paying their rent or making sure their family's fed or clothed.
They can afford to sit down.
They can afford to sit down. Like those are the people. If anyone was going to do it, it should be them. It shouldn't be the people who, if they get sick or if they have to go to the hospital, their family might not eat for the next 6 weeks. It's just, so I mean, in that sense, it's good in the sense that it might make other people who are in that situation where if they get sick, they might, do harm to them or their family. They might not feel comfortable about going out. That's not good. But maybe, just maybe having sports to sit inside and watch with your family who you've been with, might be a little bit of a reprieve. So I'll give them that. It's a tough balance.
Just 10 seconds.
Nope.
I'll say that, fuck you. I'd say that, just what Ryan's saying, I think that to me, it's not about the actual players at risk because I think that their ability to get tests and to do things are not going to be what your average person is. I'm just the return to normalcy that people are searching for and the feeling all these things that make them comfortable again. When you're starting to feel more comfortable about a situation, sometimes it's not necessarily a good thing because you're not on your P's and Q's and you're staying more lax when you should be hyper vigilant right now among all things. If they're going to do it as safe as possible. They have the means to do it. I just think it's fucked up that we live in a society where you have to be at a certain level in order to guarantee that you're going to be safe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's a little bit, we were talking about it earlier. You were watching the games. There's no fans. It was weird. I mean, I think that kind of like hits home how important it is for people to be continually vigilant.
I don't want there to be fans at all.
Right. No, me either. But I'm saying it kind of drives the point home I'm sure there was 100 million people watching these matches today. Kind of drives the point home that this is going to be the normal unless we, get our shit together.
Yeah.
I hope
actually stay vigilant. So
I hope so. I just don't. Just from what I'm seeing recently, I think that there's just as likely a chance that Jim Bob says, if those fucking athletes can be out there, that I need to wear my goddamn mask and they ain't my freedom.
Well, Jim Bob, in your particular story, no particular Jim Bob, but he can catch the COVID and die at home. So.
That note,
on Mother's Day.
As always, take care of your chickens and take care of your mentals.
Drink water, not booze. Water.
More booze.
Drink both.
Always, please follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and the Facebooks. And thanks for listening. See you next week.
Xanax is amazing. Bye.
Shout out Xanax.
Love you, boys. Bye.
Bye.